All right, contractor, so you go out and you do an amazing job, you get a happy customer, and you earn that 5-star review, only to wake up a day later, a week later, and the review's gone. You're not crazy, and it's not a glitch that you can ignore. See, last year in 2025, approximately 292 million reviews were removed. And in 2026, it's not getting any better. They are doubling down. So my promise is, stick with me to the end of this video, and I'm going to teach you everything there is to know about why these Google reviews are disappearing, how to prevent it, and just how to dominate with reviews. So I'm sure you know this already, but reviews are the #1 trust driver for contractors. They have a direct impact in your sales cycle. So any lead coming through, 9 out of 10 people are going to look your business up and they're going to see those reviews. So it affects your sales. They're also one of the top 10 ranking factors for you showing up on Google. So getting a lot of reviews, and hopefully really high reviews, are really, really important. But if they disappear, that's kind of a problem, right? So here's the thing that makes this worse. We've always dealt with reviews that can disappear, but in 2026, Google is using Gemini, which is Google's AI, to help them scan every review against potential penalties, which I'll go over in a minute. And so that just makes it even worse than last year, right? So the gut punch here is most of these deleted reviews are not 1 stars. Most of them are the good ones. They're the 4 and the 5 stars that are getting flagged as suspicious. And the best reviews that you have are the ones that are most likely to get removed, not the 1 and 2 stars. Okay, so let's get into it. When a review disappears, it's going to be one of 2 things. One is a display bug. Google has openly admitted multiple times that sometimes their system is accidentally removing these reviews, but they just come back, right? And so normally they can come back within like 2 or 3 days, maybe a week at most. And if that happens, if it just comes back naturally, then it's just one of those bugs. But the other and far more common thing is a policy enforcement. So something is wrong, or at least looks to be wrong, it's probably more likely even that, with the review policy. And the problem is that most contractors, and definitely homeowners, they don't really pay attention to these policies. So inadvertently, not on purpose, you think you're doing the right thing, you're collecting genuine reviews from people, but there's something small that's happening that's a little bit off that they're using as a preventative measure, and all of a sudden these things get removed. And if it's a policy enforcement, unfortunately, these are likely gone for good. So if it's going to be one of those display signals, we just wait it out. But most of the time, these are going to be legit reviews getting pulled for policy violations. And they're probably policy violations that you're not quite aware of. So let's dig into that now. The #1 that we see is location signals. So let's imagine this for a minute. Your office is here. Your homeowner that you're doing work for is over here. You go to their place, you do the job, you leave, you come back to the office, and your CRM or automation or manual text at some point after the job sends them a text and asks for a review. Let's say it's a day later or 2 days later, and they do it when they get the text. But what you don't know is that the next day after you left, they left on a vacation, and they're 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 hours away, maybe even 2 states away, and they leave the review. That's a flag for Google, because if you're a local roofer, painter, remodeler, what's a likelihood that you're going to be doing business with somebody that's 3 states away, even 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 hours away? It's a near zero chance. And while Google is just going to use that location, they probably don't understand where that person lives. They just see the location of the review as it's being left. And that's a problem. So the way around this, and the way around a lot of these policy violations, is just to ask for the review at the end of the job right then and there. So I would say get a tap card. If you just Google tap cards, review tap cards, you'll find them. They're super cheap. Program them with your Google review link, have them there, ask at the end of the job. There's some psychology that goes along with this too, because at the happiest moment, like right after the walkthrough, when they're like super ecstatic about the job being, done, and they're ready for you to be out of there, frankly, but they're glad the job is done, it's done right, it's done by you, and they're ready to wrap up. That moment is the best time to get the review anyways. It's the most likely time to get the review, and it's the point where they're going to typically leave the most context in the review, which we'll get to in a second. So that's what I would do. And if you do that, you nearly avoid all of the location penalties that are there, right? So now a business like mine, I run a national, actually technically international agency. I have clients in all over US and Canada, and I've had clients in UK and Australia and other places in the world. Because my brand, Google understands that my brand is not a local business, I can get away with someone 5 states away. So it's contextual, right? And if you have a very large service radius, like an entire state or 5 counties or something, it's okay. But if you're like in one city and 3, 4, 5 hours away, someone leaves a review, or across the country, that's not okay. And it's very, very likely that a review that fits that profile gets removed. And the reason why most of these, as I continue through the rest of them, it looks like to Google that it's purchased. Even though you and I know that it's a real customer, it looks purchased. And so because Google Gemini is scanning it, said it looks really far away, they remove it. Well, let's get to the next one. And this one's really big too. And this actually comes from the same symptom of not asking at the end of it. We call it velocity spikes. And what this means is, let's just say you do 20 projects in a month and you don't ask at the end of the job. And they're scattered out throughout the month. A few here, a few there, weekends, 1 day, 5 days, doesn't really matter. But you have 20 jobs in 1 month. And because you don't ask for them at the end, you just kind of keep going. At the end, the end of the month, last week, last Friday, you take all 20 of those people and you send them all a text asking for a review. And let's just say half of them do it. What Google sees is no reviews for 4 weeks and all of a sudden 10 reviews. Again, that looks like you purchased reviews. And again, just for clarity, never purchase reviews. That's really, really bad. But if I were to go and purchase reviews, chances are, these spam companies that do these things, they sell off these cheap reviews that are completely fake, that absolutely can get you banned. They normally come in these spikes. They come all at once. They're not ironed out and not spread out over time. So the easiest way to prevent that is the same way I talked about with the location. If you just ask at the end of the job, this problem goes away. So whoever, whether it's a project manager, lead person, whether it's you, doesn't matter who it is, train the staff that's there at walkthrough at the final close. That is their job, is they get that review at that moment. The next one is going to be what we call linguistic clustering. So this is where every review uses the same or similar phrasing. Let me give you an example. Let's say I get a couple people and I see like job well done, would recommend. Great job, highly recommend. That's really close, right? And so when we don't coach our people, our clients, how to leave a review, a lot of times people will leave really, really short reviews. They just say, great job. And if a lot of those happen, especially if they happen in close proximity to each other, then they can get flagged as, once again, they seem suspicious, they seem unlikely. Again, even if they're real. It's about, this whole thing is about what Google views as fake, not what's actually fake, right? And so they think that it looks suspicious. They're not going to take a chance. They're going to remove it. So in order to get around the linguistic clustering, where these really short reviews happen and they all have kind of similar phrasing, what we need to do is when we're asking for that review at the time, we just ask them, say, hey, if you don't mind when you're leaving the review, can you just mention something about the job? Just some context. It doesn't matter what, just anything. The more detail you leave about the job, the more it helps other people understand what it was like to work with us. Anything like that would be just fine. But we want to get them, if they start putting things in their natural language, they describe the job, oh, I hired Joe with APC painting and they came in and man, my house is transformed. They took this thing, blah, 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 whatever. That's what we want to hear. We don't want to just say, great job, right? That's not a good review. It's also, not only does it have linguistic clustering, it has no SEO value in the context, and it's not really useful to humans. So if we can just ask and kind of guide and nudge them to get a little bit of context in there, that's going to be great. You'll occasionally have people that just won't do it, but it's okay. Just try. The next thing here is going to be new and empty accounts. And this is one that almost no one understands. And so really, really, really pay attention to this one. This is a really big one. Let's say you go, this happens a lot with elderly. You go do a job, remodel, repaint, whatever. And you do the job with, some lady that's maybe 70, 65, 70, 75 years old. She probably got a cell phone, probably hardly knows how to use it. Technology is not her friend. And you ask her for a Google review. And she's like, oh, it's asking me to create an account. I never had a Google account. And you sit there and you walk her through creating a Google account. She makes a brand new Google account, and then she leaves a review. There is a 100% chance that review is going away. And the reason is it goes right back to spam, what looks like spam reviews. When overseas spam companies that sell these fake reviews, they have to make new profiles a lot. I mean, millions and millions and millions of fake profiles are created just to leave fake reviews by these link farms and stuff. And so if you have someone that creates a brand new account, there's never been an email sent from that Gmail account, they've never done anything, they've never used a calendar, they've never left another review, it's brand new, and then immediately leaves a review, it is absolutely going away. So here's how you counter that. You ask them if they have any other profiles. Maybe that person doesn't have a Google review, but they have a Facebook account. Great. Have a backup link card for your Facebook account. Get it there. We want you to get Google reviews because they have the highest SEO impact. But if I know if I get this new person, this person signs up with a brand new account and they leave a review and I know it's going away, why even ask? I would just instead, you just say, oh, if you don't have an account, that's okay. Do you by chance have a Facebook account? Oh yeah, I got one of those. Okay, tap this card instead. And your problem solved. You could also have a couple backups for Yellow Pages, Better Business Bureau. You never know. And if that person genuinely has none of those, skip it. It's not going to do you any good. And all of these other profiles do basically the same thing. So don't run them through hoops on creating new accounts. It's just not worth it. It doesn't really show up anyways. So the next one is going to be a reviewer account vanished. So if someone deletes their account, or even if their account goes stale, it's sort of the opposite of the new account. A brand new account leaves a review, it goes away. Let's just say someone has an active Google account and they've used it for years, but then all of a sudden they stop using it. And you fast forward sometime in the future, like 5 years in the future, and they haven't touched that account, there's a likelihood that that review disappears too. Or if they go in and intentionally delete the account, it'll definitely get removed. So if someone's old Google account, now this doesn't apply to like reviews you're getting right now, but it could, if someone left a review from a while ago, it could disappear. So you could see small amounts of reviews like disappear just from old, either stale accounts or accounts that get deleted. Now, the last one I'm going to talk about is blank reviews. This is somewhat similar to the linguistic clustering, where someone just clicks 5 stars and puts no words in it at all. That also can get removed. And it's, again, kind of similar. It just looks like it could potentially be link farm kind of spam reviews. And the way we get around that is the same thing as before. We just coach them and ask them to add some context. Okay, so we just covered all the kind of major reasons why reviews will disappear from your profile. And if you follow those steps and avoid it, we're going to be good. But now let's shift into what has changed in 2026. So all those reasons that I just gave you, they're getting enforced more in 2026, but there's also some brand new things. And let's dive into that. Number one, and this is a very weird one, but number one is you're not allowed to ask for the name of the technician in your reviews anymore. Now, this has been a really common thing. You'd say, hey, just if you don't mind, like mention my name, like, it just helps our company. So you might leave a review. Hey, this painting company was great. ABC Painting was fantastic. I worked with John. He was amazing. That's no longer allowed. Now, the reason why it's not allowed is because they know that most companies have an incentive. There's a review quota or a review bonus. And the way that companies would understand, let's say you have 2 project managers that go through walkthroughs and they get a certain part of their pay or bonus structure tied to reviews. And the way that you figure out who's who is that their name has to be mentioned. You actually go out and say, hey, when you get the review, make sure your name is mentioned. And if you're not doing that, that's okay, great. Most people are. Most contractors have been doing this for years, and it's been allowed for a long time. Now, all of a sudden, in early 2026, they said, nope, this is not allowed. Now, I don't like it. And I think that even if you got natural reviews, you're going to find that people are going to mention your name. And I think that a natural, this is not stated in their policy. It says that you can't ask customers to leave your name. It doesn't say that no review can ever have a name mentioned. So what that infers is if you have a lot or all of your reviews have a name mentioned, you are going to get in trouble. If a couple here and there happen, it's no big deal. I wouldn't worry about it. I think that naturally some are going to happen, and it's possible that those ones still get removed, but you wouldn't get your account suspended or something worse from that. So just don't ask for that. And I've even seen a lot of contractors, and I would recommend it just to stay on the other side of this, and just say, hey, when you're leaving the review, drop some sort of context about what this was, but don't mention names specifically. Like, don't mention my name or anyone else's name, just because Google changed their rules and we can actually get in a little bit of trouble for that. And if you just tell them that, they won't. They'll be like, oh, ABC painting was great, or, XYZ roofing was fantastic, did a great job, and here and here and here, and that's it, right? So this is something that's going to have to be coached. Very, 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 very similar to this is you are not allowed to have any sort of staff review quotas, bonuses, or leaderboards tied to review counts. This means you cannot offer any part of a pay, whether it's base pay, incentive pay, commission pay, per review pay, nothing, to any team member for review counts at all. And now, the only way you're really going to get caught here is if the FTC gets involved, which I'm going to come back to in a second. But if you do, it's a very, very serious penalty. So basically, you just coach your team to always look for reviews because it helps the team, but you can no longer directly financially incentivize getting reviews for any team member at all. The next one, and this one's also weird, is it technically says no on-site tablet or kiosk ask in your lobby or driveway. So that kind of goes directly in the face of asking at the end of the job. I think the idea behind this is not to be high pressuring, right? You need to ask everyone for a review. I would just say, hey, if you wouldn't mind, leave me a review. I think that as long as you're not being high pressure, I think you're going to be okay. I think what they're trying to avoid is like this in your face kind of leave me a review right now mentality. The way that we would structure it is just say, hey, if you got a moment, if you could leave us a review, that'd be great. And then you can also follow up and text a review or email a review later. The next one is going to be review gating. Now, this one has technically always been a rule. This one's not new, but their enforcement of it is major. Anything that's called review gating. Review gating means if I have 10 customers this week and 2 of them were kind of a pain in the butt, I'm not going to send them a review link or ask them for a review, but the other 8 that were good, I'm going to. That's called review gating, and that's extremely problematic. Okay? Can't do that. You have to ask everyone for a review. And I know that sucks, but that's the rule. Now, not only, and this is also new as well, and you really need to know this, not only is this a Google review, but it's also an FTC rule. So the FTC, all those things that I just mentioned, are direct violations of FTC consumer protection laws. And if the FTC catches you, Google catches you this, they remove a review. Worst case, if you keep doing it, they suspend your profile. If the FTC catches you doing this, it is a $53,000 per instance fine. Per instance. So let's just say you incentivize your team to get reviews and they can prove that in 1 month you did it 5 times. You're getting 53,000 times 5, right? This is not a small thing. Now, obviously, someone would have to report you. I don't think the FTC is like going around asking customers from the reviews they find online. But the thing is if someone, a consumer, is knowledgeable on this and they sense that you broke this and they fill out an FTC report, which takes 30 seconds to do, then they're going to be at your doorstep and it's not going to be a fun day. So the pivot here is we want to ask neutral, open-ended, ask for every customers, not just the happy ones. We want to send it right after the visit. You can just say, hey, you can leave us a review. Awesome. Give them a tap card option, but also send them a text. Drip, don't spike, right? Which means that, like, we want to ask it at the end of every job. Don't put them all together like a month later or a week later. Just ask naturally at the end of every job. That's it. Just do it then. Ask them to not new name drop, but also ask them to leave some context about the job just because it helps it stick so it's not blank or repetitive. And when you get that review, you want to respond to every single review in a diversified, natural way. Don't have one preset canned response for everybody. Take the time and respond to each person individually. All right, guys, we're coming to a wrap on this video. So the big idea here is the old way of get as many 5-star reviews as possible with incentivations and high pressure tactics, and make sure you mention my guy's name. That playbook is dead. Do not use it. The new way is authentic, natural, consistent, authentic reviews. That's what we want to do. Now, this isn't Google being the enemy. This is Google's attempt to level the playing field so that the people that are doing these incredibly aggressive, obnoxious strategies, they're going to get penalized for doing so. The people that are buying fake reviews, they're going to get penalized for doing so. So just know these rules, understand them, update your playbook so that you can have the same level playing field and that you will grow with natural 5-star reviews. Now, look, if you need help with any of this, feel free. I'm going to put a link down below where you can book a call and talk with one of our teams. We can help guide you on specific strategies for this. And I'm also going to drop another link below. This is a free quiz that we have. We call it the Scale Auditor. If you click it, you take the quiz. It kind of tells you exactly where you are in your contracted business, exactly where you need to focus on. And it gives you a 12-month roadmap for exactly what to do in what order. So grab either one of those links or both of those links. Love to see you on the other side. If you haven't yet, please like, follow, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.